Hey everyone, it's Gary from S&G and Susan on the camera. Today we are going to be looking at generators and hope everyone's doing okay with COVID-19 being in isolation at home, and specifically wanted to go over on how to start and operate these generators. I have two different types. I have the small suitcase type, and then I have more of your typical larger generator that's about 7,000 watts. And if you lose power during this pandemic, I know that a lot of healthcare providers that are visiting homes right now for the elderly, and when, just in case the power goes out, you could be running on oxygen machines or other life providing equipment, and if the power goes out, you need to keep those running. And wanted to show you how to properly start these up and connect them to the equipment if you need to. So how to start these generators, we're going to look at this little suitcase inverter generator type. I've already had it set up. This particular one, I have mine set to run on propane, which is off like a regular barbecue grill tank, but the same principle applies on how to start it up. And what we have here is we have a little heat gun just so we can plug it in for a load. Usually you'll find your typical house outlet right on in front of the generator here. And to start it up, what we want to do, typically what we'll be running is gasoline. We want to make sure that the gasoline is turned on. In this case, there's a vent here. We want to make sure that's set to on. And then we have a fuel shutoff valve. There's typically one on every single generator. This one is located right here, or it could look like down over below here. We want to make sure that the fuel is set to the on position so that the engine can get gasoline from the tank. So once we know that the fuel has been turned on, what we're going to do here on this generator is there's a choke and a run switch where you have to choke the machine to get the fuel into the engine. So what we're going to do on this particular machine, you have the choke, you pull that all the way out. On this machine, it's not on this machine because it's set to propane, but typically you would have a little lever right here. Right now it would be set to run, and if you move that lever all the way to the front, it'll actually tell you which position is set for choking the engine. So in this case, and every generator is different, but they all operate the same way. You would set the choke lever to the choke position. Once we have it set to the choke position, then we're ready to go and pull the cord. In this case, since we're set up on propane, I don't need this choke, but we want to leave it out. And when you hear the engine start up, you want to immediately move it from the choke position to about halfway, which is half choke. Give the engine about 30 seconds or so to warm up, and then set it to run. This is set to run when it's all the way pushed in, and if this had the choke lever, this would go all the way back to the run position. It even says it over here. Finally, before you go and pull the cord, there's a ignition switch, so it has a run and a stop. We want to set it to the run position. Same thing over here on this machine. There is a switch here for the stop and on, so we want to set that to on. And finally, we can go ahead and pull the cord here. I have this on propane, so I'm just going to do a different step. And now you should be able to start it right back up. Now this would normally be all the way out. When it fires up, bring it to halfway, which is half choke. Let it run for 30 seconds, and then finally set it to on. This little suitcase generator, as you heard, it just idled all the way down. It's got a special fuel saving feature where it doesn't have to run at full speed. Typically it would be running very fast like that, but these are some of the best fuel efficient generators out there. If you don't need to run the machine with a heavy load, then you turn this switch on and it brings the engine down to a lower speed if it saves fuel. Okay, and that's pretty much all there is to it to get the engine running. You could plug in the equipment to the duplex outlet here, and then it can run whatever you need to run, whether it be an oxygen machine, an IV, heart monitor, things of that nature, or even just a few lights and television if you trying to stay entertained during this COVID-19 lockdown. So I'm going to turn off this idle control, and just to show you, you'll hear the engine speed change a little bit when you plug in your equipment. It'll get really loud when you put a lot more of a load on it if you have more equipment. But pretty much as simple as that. And to shut it off, all you need to do is hit the ignition switch.